Hello and welcome to the Wicker Library. My name is Aaliyah. So happy to have you here with us today. It has been a minute since I have last uploaded on this channel. I've been rather busy. I got another job on top of my current job where I'm working at the library, and I've also been finishing up finals for junior year. I'm all done with that now, but I still have two jobs. So they're both very enjoyable though, and I've been having a great summer. It has been very hot in New York, so I've been having to keep all of the windows and all of the fans on. So pardon the background noise that you will surely be hearing. Anyway, I wanted to come back with a book recommendations video. I've been asked a few times before to recommend my favorite weird books or surrealism or magical realism or just speculative fiction. That is one of my favorite categories of books. I love odd, kind of gross sometimes very illogical books that are just weird. And I thought I would bring some of my favorites that I haven't seen talked about too much, at least on the channels I watch. So hopefully you find something here that you haven't heard of before, but that interests you to pick up yourself. So let's just get into the recommendations. The first book I have here is Siren Queen by nghi, and this book I read quite a while ago. I read it whenever it first came out, and I absolutely loved it, as I loved all of the books that are on this list. But this one tackles a version of Hollywood and its sinisterness of Hollywood, and we follow a young actress, and she kind of gets enraptured in this world, and it is very magical, it is very odd, and it is dark, but it also is very beautiful in both its writing. There's a sapphic romance in here that is just very interesting and deep, and I really love this book. I think people who really enjoyed The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo could really take away something from this book. I didn't really like The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, but I found what I wanted from that book in this book. And so yeah, I would highly recommend this one, and I would recommend you go in not knowing too much, except that it is about fame and sort of a deal with a devil in that case. And it is very queer, it is very beautiful, and it's a wonderful time. Next, I have Jawbone by Mónica Ojeda, and this was translated by Sarah Booker, and I loved this book. It really delves into the weird magical realism side of things. It deals with obsession and girlhood and that line between really close friends and something more, something sometimes grosser. And it is very dark. It deals with murder, but it also just, it shows the stickiness and the grossness of girlhood and obsession, and it is just such a wild ride. It is so good. The writing style was so intriguing, and I really want to reread this one just because I think I could get so much more from it a second time around, but the first time alone was enough. And once everything started to come together in regards to the mystery, it's just so good, and I wish more people were talking about it. I wish more people were reading it. It's also just such a queer, unusual book that is so weird, and y'all have to read it. Next, we have another translated book, and that is People from My Neighborhood by Hiromi Kawakami, and this was translated by Ted Goossen. This I read in one of my vlogs. I'll link it above or below. And I really had a fun time with this. I did not take it too seriously. It feels very satirical. It feels very odd and nonsensical. It goes into just so many ridiculous scenarios, but it's a bunch of short stories, and all the short stories have repeating characters and things like that, which is my favorite type of short story collection, when it feels like it could be read as a novel, but it also, each chapter can stand alone. And it has very odd, quirky characters. There is something magical, something weird going on that you try and understand, and then you kind of give up on understanding. And it is just a great time. And I loved the style of it. It was written in these, vignettes, and it was just so much fun. And it was just a weird, funky little time. Next, we have Organ Meats by Chang, and this one delves into the genre of surrealist horror, and it is so good. It's another one that I think I would get so much more from on a reread, and it was beautifully written. Chang is just the best writer that I've read from in a long time, and I think her books are perfect for weird book recommendation videos, because so many of them are weird, but they're gross and they're gritty, but they're also so beautiful, and they deal with so many themes such as family and, again, girlhood. And this one is kind of great to go into not knowing too much. It feels like a fever dream throughout the entire book. Even when you start to understand things that are happening, you don't understand anything that's going on, but once you accept that, and once you just let what's happening wash over you and just enjoy it, it is so good and so interesting. And I'm so excited to read Chang's most recent book, or more so novella, Cecilia, and I need that book in my hands now. It's on request from the library, so I should be getting it soon. But yeah, anything by Chang, but I would particularly recommend Organ Meats. Next, we have Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, and this one was translated by Ginny, takemori, and I really enjoyed this one, but enjoy is kind of the wrong word. It is unsettling, it is dark, it is weird. It begins weird, but then it just goes into a territory that you were probably not expecting, and that's why I would also recommend not going into this book knowing too much. There's a character who believes there's aliens, or that believes she is an alien, and there's certain dynamics she has with family members that are very odd, but it is just such a trip and such a fever dream once again. I highly recommend it. It was one that I didn't necessarily give the highest rating to, but I feel like, again, on reread, I would enjoy it more. It is one, however, that stuck with me and that I would just recommend continuously. But to a very particular person, because I don't think this is a book that has mass appeal to it, but to that niche that it caters to, whoever those people are, I guess I was one of them. I don't know if I should be proud about that or concerned, but yeah, this was a trip and I had a really good time with it. Next, we have one of my favorite books of all time, and the only thing stopping me from cementing it as a favorite of all time is that I haven't reread it yet, but that is Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. This book is just phenomenal. It deals with cults, and it has this element of surrealism and horror to it, and it is just so fascinating, and the characters are so fleshed out, and they really just grab you and do not let you go until the final page. And even then, this book really sat with me and stuck with me, and I really wish I saw more people reading it, because it is just so well crafted and I love it so much. I don't even want to talk too much about what it's about, just because it is about, what the synopsis reads, which is a girl, Vern, escaping with her twins that she has into the woods, and you don't really know much more about that except that she's running from someone, it's kind of unclear, and then you're flashing back to her history and where she's running from, but it's about so much more than that, and it's just so good. I wish more people were reading it. I wish more people were raving about it, and yeah, I need to reread it at one point. I think it'll just be even better the second time around, and I would also highly recommend the audiobook. The narrator was just phenomenal. We've come to our final book recommendation, and that is The Miracles of the Namiya General Store by Keigo Higashino, and this one was translated by Sam Bett. This book I really loved while reading it, but then it also just stuck with me so much. It is one I've talked about fairly often on this channel just because it fits into a lot of the book recommendation videos I do, such as like books that feel like Studio Ghibli films or things like that. And it is just such a found family type of story. It doesn't focus too much on that found family, but it focuses on community, and the whole premise of it is that there's this magical general store that this group of delinquents has basically found while running from law enforcement, and suddenly there's mail coming in to the general store, and it's people asking for advice, although it's from the past. And so instead of being like, we're not dealing with that, these group of younger adults are basically giving advice to these people from the past, and we get their stories, and again, this kind of vignette style of writing, and it is just so good. It's so heartwarming, and it's also very weird, just the way things work, but also the way things start to come together, and you see the connections between all of these characters that you thought were just strangers in one another's lives. It is so good, and I'd highly, highly recommend it. So that concludes all of my book recommendations I have for you at the moment. I hope you found something in this list that intrigues you, or that maybe you have read and you have thoughts about. Feel free to share them in the comments. Feel free to share also other weird, odd book recommendations. I love getting recommendations so much. So yes, please send them all to me below. But if you did enjoy this video, feel free to like and subscribe. We have a good time over here. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video.